My name is Steve Browning. I want to talk with you for a few minutes about my personal experiences with the Lewis and Clark Community Foundation. Let's use a simpler name. How about LCCCF for short? Okay? Just a few background notes on myself. I'm not a wealthy person. My wife and I are originally from Indiana. We do not come from wealthy families. Our parents grew up in the Great Depression. They taught us to be frugal. I think the lesson worked more with my wife than myself. But anyway, they taught us to save for the future and to give back to our communities. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We live these days in a small condominium on Helena's downtown walking mall. By sheer coincidence, Helena's first huge gold strike occurred in a place that is directly below the window in the condominium where we live on the Gulch. By the 1890s, Helena had become the richest town in the world when measured by per capita income. In Helena, we had more deposits in our banks than in the banks of Seattle and Portland combined. How amazing is that? Too bad that the wealthy miners and all their related business interests and the owners thereof didn't endow our community. Unfortunately, permanent charitable endowments didn't exist then in Helena. If there were, and if those owners had left only a small portion of their wealth to charitable endowments, just imagine how much those endowments will be worth today. But let's not cry over spilled milk. Let's talk about the today and the opportunities that we have today. I said I wanted to talk with you about the Lewis and Clark Community Foundation, so let's get to it. LCCF was formed in 1994 when 20 folks from Helena passed a hat and collected about $2,000 to start our foundation. The purpose of LCCF was simple. We wanted to start a savings account for our community's future needs. Yes, you heard me. A permanent savings account for charity. That's what LCCF is. Since 1994, our foundation has grown steadily. From an initial investment of $2,000, it has grown now to nearly $500,000. To confirm that, I just called the Montana Community Foundation that owns and manages our endowment. And as of August 31, 2012, our endowment assets totaled were $464,827. That's quite an achievement. We've really come a long way since we passed the hat and collected $2,000, but we still have a long, long way to go before LCCF can really be considered a genuine force in our community. As the years have passed since '94 and our endowment has grown, LCCF has been able to give more and more grants each year. I won't go into the detail on our grants. You can see that on our website. However, I feel compelled to point out that our recent grant to the Wolf Creek Fire Department is an example of what I would like to see happen in the future. We funded a new pumper for the Wolf Creek Fire Department. And that pumper may be needed in the disastrous fire season we're currently experiencing. The pump grant is just one of many hundreds of grants that LCCF has given over the years. Since we've been in operation, we've granted more than $100,000 to various local charities. Now here's something else to consider about LCCF. We are not part of local government. We are a public charity. We have a public permanent endowment that earns money every year. And as our endowment grows, we use our income from that endowment to donate to worthy projects. LCCF is run by a volunteer board of directors. We've had nearly 40 volunteer board members over the years we've been in existence. But LCCF can't give grants unless we continue to grow our endowment. And that's the real reason why I'm talking to you today. What can you do to make our endowment grow? I'm sure that you already give money to charity every year, right? I mean, that's what we do in America. And in particular in Montana, we're very charitable. However, don't you think it's interesting that fewer than 10% of the estates probated last year left money to charity? What's that all about? Endowments like ours can't grow unless they receive gifts from people like you and me. And how can you make an endowed gift to LCCF? The easiest way is to leave a bequest in your will from LCCF. Please understand, I'm not asking you to do something that I haven't already done myself. My wife and I already have bequests in our respective wills for LCCF. So I urge you to consider doing the same. Your gift can be large or small, specific or general. Just please make a bequest to LCCF. And here's another thing you might consider doing. Consider making a planned gift to LCCF. What's a planned gift, you might ask? It's simply a tool to immediately transfer a portion of your savings to our foundation. The really neat thing about planned gifts is you can keep the income for yourself for your life. Please talk to your tax advisor about this idea, okay? Thanks. I can tell you also from my own personal experience that planned gifts can save you lots of tax dollars while assuring local charities that they'll receive significant benefits in the future. Why? Because the state of Montana currently provides a large tax credit for planned gifts. That tax credit is up for renewal this year. I hope it is renewed. But anyway, you heard me. It's a tax credit, and a tax credit is more than a tax deduction. Over the past 17 years, since the Montana tax credit has been in effect, my wife and I have made dozens of planned gifts to Montana charitable endowments, like LCCF. Here's a list of some of the charities who are currently benefiting from our planned gifts. We've saved thousands of dollars in Montana taxes because these charities are absolutely assured that their endowments will be increased when we die. But before getting too bogged down in technicalities, let me return to my Indiana roots. I want to talk to you and tell you about an Indiana story that might help you understand how Montana can benefit. I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, a town that didn't have a strong foundation. My hometown was then known by some as Naptown. However, through the vision and support of the Lilly Charitable Trust, my original hometown has been completely transformed. And how did that happen? It happened because the Lilly Endowment reached $10 billion in the 1970s, and it started granting significant sums in Indiana, and particularly in the Indianapolis area. And that really caused great things to start to happen in Indianapolis. I have the same vision now for my hometown of Helena. This can happen with the continuing growth of LCCF. It won't happen right away, but it can over time. So please help me make that happen by putting LCCF in your will, okay? The last story I want to leave with you is one that has a more local connection. It concerns the Phyllis and Dennis Washington Foundation. Mr. Washington started his foundation about 25 years ago, about the same time that I came to Montana. His foundation is funded from his corporation's profits. Those contributions aren't distributed. Instead, they go into a permanent endowment. At first, the Washington Foundation's endowment wasn't particularly large, but over time, it has grown to more than $300 million. It now provides many substantial early childhood grants to many worthwhile organizations and projects throughout Montana. The Lilly and Washington stories are models for us to follow here in Helena. I hope that one day a comparable story can be told about LCCF. With your help, we can make that happen. So get planning, okay? And thanks for listening to my story.